All right, it is time. It is time. It is time. So, Stacy, I'm just passing the mic check, mic check. I'm passing it over to you so you can kick us off.
1 2 1 2. We are back again, you all. I'm so excited. So every time I get the little message in the DM that another book is getting ready to launch, I just feel like my life gets to start all over again. Why? Because I get another book to learn from. This is not just about putting a book out there and saying, oh, I want to be a bestseller, because she's always going to be a bestseller. This is about the information that's inside of it, the true stories from these women, the transformations that happen, and then where you actually get to learn and grow from it as well. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Stacy Moore. I'm known as the operator, connecting small business owners to the resources and relationships, which this always does, that they need in order to have a successful life and to be able to generate more money, which allows you to relax just a little bit. So Dr. Tamara Mitchell Davis is out here with another book. Is this the 13 or 14? This 14? Is
This
this
is,
14?
I think this is 14.
Yeah, this is
On a
14.
count
You have
earlier. Yeah.
13 bestsellers already. That's not including like workbooks and ebooks and all that kind of
Right.
good stuff. So if you all are saying, is she the real deal? Why do I want to listen to this? That's the starter. 13 bestsellers. And that is because of the content and the effort that she puts into it before we ever get to the point of hitting the publish button and saying, hey, you all, it's live. So, Tamara, I know you personally. I know you as a strong businesswoman. I know you as a strong corporate woman. I know you as a wife, as a mother, all the good things. Tell the audience a little bit about you. And I want to hear the first reason why. And we've said this a couple of times, but why did you decide to do these anthologies versus just going off in the wild and doing your own thing? Because you could have done it solo, right? And only told your stories. But you've
Mhm.
decided to bring, I know that I've been involved with about 65 to 70 people
Yeah.
along this, and that's not all of them, because I haven't been part of all of them, but that people along with you. So why do anthologies? Who are you really? And then why do anthologies?
Yeah, so thanks, Stacey, for moderating the talk yet again. I know who to tap when it's time. And so one of my past co-authors, she started calling me storytelling midwife. So I'm like, okay, I think I'm gonna just go with that. And so I have been working on my own individual projects, but it was important for me to also help women, and we've added some men to the fold to share their stories. Because when I meet with them, initially they have the desire to write and share their story, but just not sure how to do it, where to begin, what to write about, or even questioning the worth or value of the story. And so when I, did a little one-on-one or had some group programs, I saw that once we were doing it together, then the progress will happen. But the minute time was up, then sometimes they would just revert back and not continue on. So about 5 years ago, it was like, okay, what can we do here? What's something that we can do to guide them along the way so that they get to the publishing finish line without the heavy lift of it? And so it was the book collaboration projects. They come on, they write a chapter, we guide them along the way. They're in the process, they learn the process, and we end up here with the virtual talk, a book that they can be proud of, and a book and story that they can build with and continue to make the movements that they desire. So that's how it's
Absolutely.
ended.
Whoop, whoop. Okay, so this one has fire behind it, right? This is the Trailblazers, embracing change and then pursuing purpose and finding success. And we all know that the definition of success looks different for everybody. So there's something for everybody in all of the books that you put out. So I hope that you out there in the audience are saying, I'm going to stay and listen to this to the end, because somebody has a story that's aligned with yours at some point in the journey. Somebody has a success story that you're desiring to have, and you don't have it yet and don't know how to get it. And somebody has had some trials and tribulations, and they're here on the screen now with you to be able to tell you that they survived. These are the Trailblazers.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
Yes.
like
So we're
that.
going to go through the story, and I just want to let the audience know you're going to see my eyes all over the place, right? So I've got the book up in one place, I've got the Zoom up in another place, and I've got notes up in another place. Dr. Tamara, I want to go to this point too.
Mhm,
Um, I want to start early so that people can start thinking about this.
mhm.
You don't just do books, you then bring all of these people together in an environment. So these are the past people plus the new people to get to know you and get to know the authors and their experiences at this wonderful pin to publish conference. And Jamaica, people are already saying, well, I want to go somewhere and do something, but I want to be able to write it off, right? This is the opportunity to do that. Tell us a little bit about that conference.
Yeah, so every year we have an event. It's Pen to Profit, where we bring in authors, coaches, leaders. It is all connected to books and business. So we had a session. Just give you an example. We were just in Jamaica in April 2024. So not too long ago. Definitely a memorable experience. But we had training sessions during the day, ranging from mindset and meditation to content creation, and just understanding how we can leverage our stories to build and connect with those we desire to work with, and even just explore the things that we deserve. Like, what do we want our business to look like? How do we want to leave that legacy, grow the legacy, live in legacy, and also leave the legacy? So it is about books and business. It's one space where we all come together. We have fun. We have some self care, we have some learning, and we just create memories. And the women, our group have expanded. Like, we are just adding more and more individuals to the fold. And I'm excited because I really didn't know that it would morph into something like this. And even when I started, it wasn't something that like I aspired to do like years ago. Like, oh, I'm going to start doing book collaborations and grow this community. That wasn't on my radar. But I've been learning to just lean into the things that I desire and things that I enjoy. And this is a part of it, watching the transformation happen for all of those that that we work with, where they start out just writing their story and then go on to do other things, building with their story, connecting with their story, making impact with their story. And so Pen to Profit is just one of those events where we have the convening of everyone so that they can network. Because when we're working like this, we're on camera, we're on Zoom, and it's an opportunity for everyone to be in person.
Awesome. Thank you so much for telling us about that. I always get excited about hearing that. I have not made it yet. I don't know why. I do not know why, but everybody's always excited. And then we see all the pictures that come back and all the testimonials that are there. And again, it's about the sisterhood of it, but it's where the business development and the personal development meet each other in a location, in an environment that's conducive for growth on both sides. So if you're saying, I want to hear more about that, just drop Pen to Profit either in the comments, or you'll see that Dr. T has, she is the one that is streaming this out. So go ahead and hit the DMs and drop that into the DMs. The earlier you get started, see, this thing fills up. By the time she puts it out there to the public, the slots fill all up. And then people are in her DMs saying, do you have room for more? No, we're giving you way early advance notification right here, right now in July. Consider this Christmas in July, and get your coins together. Figure out what is that offer that you need to put together. And that money specifically goes to making sure that you are in the building come April-ish of next year, right now. Pen to Profit in the comments or in her DM. All right, off of the commercial. So
Yes.
we're going to we're going to dive into the book. For it was done by Anne Marie Knight. I know that you're very specific about who you pick to do these forwards, and there's always a connection between that person and the actual topic. Tell us a little bit about why you chose her to do the forward for this book.
Yes. So Anne Marie is the executive director of the Black Business Alliance. And so they work to ensure that Black entrepreneurs have, a space of learning, connections, networking, etc. And so I thought that would be a connection and an alignment with this project, because all of the women on this project are also entrepreneurs. And so, who would better know or speak to the what's the word I want to use? The credibility of entrepreneurship other than someone who's running an organization that caters to entrepreneurs. And so I thought the alignment was there. I reached out, asked her, she graciously accepted. And so here we are with Miss Anne-Marie writing the foreword. So if she is watching and tuning in, thank you again, Miss Anne-Marie. And yeah.
Sweet, sweet. Now, if you all have not picked up your book already, now she put it out there. This is the thing about it. If you're used to this, some of you have been around for a while. We talk about repeat offender offers. There are also repeat offenders out in the audience that watch this every single time to see these books launch. So support the book somewhere around, or I know in Dr. Tamara's thread, because I went and I got mine earlier. Grab your copy and you can follow right now. Grab your copy now. We're going to give you this little break. We're going to start talking about these chapters, and we've got some of the women right here to deliver, talk to you about their own story and their journey with writing the book, that experience of working with Dr. Tamara, and also to tell you about the change, because what I do know is that each woman comes into her presence to write their chapter for this book one way, and they go out another way. So grab your book now, grab that link, go get it, whether you're getting the paperback or just get the digital copy for right now so you can scroll along with us with these women as they speak to their chapters. So I've already, talked to the doctor first, who of course does the introduction. And then we've got the next chapter up, and I'm just going to go with the chapters of the women that are here first. And then we'll go back and mention the other women to give them an opportunity to show up in the room. And I know that first up on the slate that was here in the room, I'm going to go with her and go to her chapter, two of them first, and then we'll backtrack. So I want to talk about a trailblazer's journey, blazing new paths outside the box. How many times have you talked about thinking and learning outside of the box? But many times we still don't get there. So Latrice, if you come on and tell us, first of all, why did you choose to participate in the anthology? Because again, you could have gone off and done your own little thing. You could have been with anybody else, but you chose to be with this diva, to be part of number 14, right? Somebody that's got a running history. Why did you choose to be a part of this one with her?
Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, everyone. Well, before I even get into number 14, I was supposed to be on number 1. And what ended up happening with number 1 and like number 2 and number 3, I was afraid. I was scared. I didn't know I can do this. There were so many things that I felt were against me that I just didn't know if I was ready. So this past October, we were together at a summit, and I walked over to her. I said, I'm on the next book project, and that's it. And I'm here. And I want to also add that I just think it's my time. I think maybe those first couple of times that it was presented to me and I was afraid, that just wasn't my time. And this is my time.
All right. All right. So you really, I chose you, one, because, early bird gets worm, but also because you're talking about a trailblazer's journey and blazing new paths outside the box. Here, we don't tell your whole story of the chapter because we want people to read it, of course. But when we talk about outside of the box, I want to ask you, did you feel like you were inside the box first? Did you have a feeling of entrapment? Did you have a certain feeling? Tell us a little bit about that feeling before you even got to outside the box.
I was inside the box for majority of my entire life. I was in a position where always was put in a position to always do things and live up to others' expectations and not my own. And when you, as a young mind, as a young child, as a young adult, are in those types of situations, you kind of don't know you. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you're capable of. And I can honestly say I felt a little bit robbed. I felt a little bit robbed of that. There were some things that, I wanted to do, but I was told, no, you can't do that. And as a mother now of two boys, I tell my boys, you can do all things. So I definitely have learned some things that in my past life that I, as you said earlier, transition, but they're gone, right? I transitioned them into how and who the woman I am today, into the woman I am today. I'm sorry. You're on
You're
mute.
muted.
You're on
Look,
mute.
all this technology, all these screens overlapping each other. So what advice would you give to people that are saying that they're struggling right now to find their path outside of the box in societal norms and all of that?
I would say do self-reflection. I would say get your circle, your sister circle, the people. You are who you are around. So if you want to elevate, then you need to be around those who are elevated so you can get there. You need to listen to other people, other women, other men, other people's stories, other entrepreneurs, other almost anyone, because at the end of the day, we all have a story to tell, and that's just the best thing I can say. And to be honest, I read a lot of these books, and I read a lot of the women's stories, and there were many that I can resonate with. And this series that Dr. Tamara has put into place is amazing. It's just simply amazing, and I'm just honored to be a part of it.
We're honored, look, as if I'm part of the team, right? We're honored to have you as part of this, and grateful, emphasizing the importance of authenticity and self-discovery. We appreciate you bringing that to the table, because again, these are hard stories for y'all out there in the audience. These are not fiction stories that people made up and just decided to have a nice chapter inside the book. This is real life stories, and we're not divulging what's inside the story. So if you want to know, then you need to go and grab the books right now. $2.99, y'all. $2.99. You pay more than that for your coffee at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts this morning. So go ahead and grab it, because it's life-changing for you, and it's also somebody you may know that you can now help by knowing someone else's story. Use their experiences to help someone else in your life if it's not you. Thank you, Latrice, for sharing that.
Of course. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Look, everybody wants to know about midlife crisis, right? So we're going to go to Queen Zena Thrower. Midlife, it's never too late. Now, people are saying, yeah, right. People say that all the time, but is that true? Is that really the truth? So I want to ask you at this stage, right? Yeah, obviously, you decided for a couple of reasons that this was right. It's not too late for you. And you decided to be part of this project too. So why did you choose to be part of this particular anthology?
Well, good evening, Queens. Well, I am officially a blessed not broken family member. I was in volume 3, The Power of Transformation. So this transformation started a little bit earlier than Trailblazers, but it set the picture to be a trailblazer. It's not too late. I started this journey late. I'll be 62 in 2 months, 61 in 2 months. So I started late, but it wasn't too late to start.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And we're going to support that. Obviously not. And then again, you all, you hear she started the journey back. This is book 3, right? A little inspiration, a little aspiration, a little motivation. And now she's a freaking trailblazer. Do you want to be a trailblazer? I'm say get the book, get started, because it starts with you, on the inside of you. We see that she is the midlife financial coach. So not only is it the basics of life, the struggles that you're going through with midlife, but there are a lot of financial things that play into that. So with this new chapter versus the old, right? The first book, I know you're probably like, yeah, okay, I understand. And then you've now through these years, right? You've put some professional development behind it. You've decided to go a certain way. Um, with your particular chapter, why did you choose to talk about the midlife and it not being too late? Is that really important? I'm gonna bring that up again because I need people to understand, because this audience is that span. We're talking about millennials, and we're talking about Gen Xers. So they're saying, come on now, make them a believer, Queen Zena.
Well, it's very, very important. I've come across women who did not realize that midlife started at 40. So if you're 40 and above, you're already in midlife. But I decided that because I had to do a reality check for myself, and to write this chapter took me back to a space and place that I had to realize your kids are grown, you are home alone. There's no
Mm,
one coming in your door. There's no one knocking on your bedroom saying, Mommy, this, or Mommy, can I tell you about this? You get none of that now. You are by yourself with your thoughts,
mm,
with your finances, um, except for my furry child. She's still hanging in there with me, which is my cat. I love her to death. But she hangs out with me. But it was time for me to say, wow, what do you do now? What do you do with that time?
mhm.
And what do you want to do with that time? Do you want to travel? Do you want to start a business? Um, where do you want to go from here? Because if you are a midlifer, trust me, retirement is knocking at the door, and it's doing it really fast these days.
It will. It will. I understand. I just humped over 56, so I definitely understand and the different things you go through. So if somebody's out there dreaming, because you really expressed inside, the challenges and the different opportunities that you had, but if somebody is out there and they're not dreaming anymore, many times as women, we had these dreams when we were 20, and then we realized somewhere along the way they got lost, or they may be inside of us, but nobody else has ever asked us again about our dreams. So if one of those women are out there, then how can you advise them or motivate them to dream again or pursue their dreams?
Well, I would actually tell them to sit still for a moment. Stop the
Mm,
busyness, just sit still for a moment. And then start writing the vision. Start writing it down. Write what your dream was when you were 20. Write what your dream was when you were 30. Or any of those things have you accomplished or still want to accomplish? Because if you can see it, you can achieve it. But you have to be able to visualize where it is you want to go in order for you to take those steps and trust in someone else to help you along the way to get there. This is not a journey that you do by yourself.
mm.
You didn't do it when you were younger because you
Mhm,
wanted the husband to help you get through it, right?
mhm,
You wanted
mhm.
someone to help you get through it. And even as a midlifer, you still want someone and a resource to help you get through it. So reach out If you want to be a business owner, start hanging out with business owners. You know, if you want to be an author, start hanging out with some authors. Do a collaboration. That was the best choice I've ever made, was doing a collaboration. Okay,
So let me
because before
piggyback
the
on that.
okay, go
Yeah, let
ahead.
me
I'm sorry.
piggyback on that. So you're a repeat offender and you did it the first time and you probably felt good. You were like, oh, okay, she's easy to work with. She really helped me do the work. How is it working with her a second time around? Because I'm sure there's somebody out there else that's written one time, they have one chapter out there and they're going, I really would like to do another one. What would your advice be and how was it different or what else did it instill in you this second go around?
I already knew what to expect on the second go around because Dr. Tamara delivers. No
Mm,
joke about that. She delivers. Wasn't aware of it the first time around. You know, we as women, we have trust issues. Um, so it was like
mhm,
I had to talk myself in and out of it the first time a couple times. This time it was just like, well, this is what we're doing. I'm in. And pretty much a lot of her programs behind the scenes to teach and build and help you out, I sign up for. If it's a master class, I'm there. Okay. If it's
mhm,
a year-long program, I'm there. But I have to say this, the bar is set very high when it comes to Dr. Tamara. I did branch out from under her one time. I'll never do that one again, but I did that. And when you have elegance and you have excellence and you have the best of the best,
mhm.
everybody else gonna have to come up to that space, and everybody is not ready to be up in that space.
That's
Okay,
right.
so yeah, I love it. I love it. I I love working with her.
Thank you. Thank you for that input. Thank you for your
I
chapter
love
because
everything about her. I mean,
I was gonna say, Queen Zena gonna have me get a shirt made. E square, excellent. What was it? Excellence and uh, what was it? The first one,
elegance,
elegance and
elegance.
elegance. That's
yes.
right. See, we know it. I didn't even have to ask again. We know it by your example. So thank you, Queen Zena. And then Dr. Tamara. So I'm going to flip back to
Thank
you
you.
real quick. So you're welcome. Bring yourself back on screen. She talked about the other services and said that what's happened now is that when you offer other things, she's actually signing up for those too. You are a lot of one-stop shop because you've had a lot of experiences on the professional side. You've developed whole brands, not one, whole brands. You have also held down personal life that has come out in a lot of the books, right? So a lot of experiences. What else are you offering behind the scenes? If somebody's saying, I'm not an author, or I don't think I'm an author right now, but I want to work with her. Like everybody loves her. I want to get in her sphere and just do something with her. And maybe down the line, I'll, be a co-author. But what other services do you offer?
Yeah, so we offer services, anthology management. So if someone is a visionary author and needs support with pulling together their project, managing their project, we do anthology management. We do the book collaborations, of course, individual writing sessions, classes,
Mm,
annual retreat. As I mentioned, the Pen to Profit retreat. In addition to like some just personal development, like things to work through, blockages that happen, feeling stuck, just needing that push and support to keep going. That is something else that we also work with individuals on, because that also shows up right in the business, in the writing, anything that you want to do. You first have to get rid of or deal with things that's going on up here and here before you can move to, the outside, the external side of things. So those are just some of the services that we offer. And I'm always doing, like, we have a community too. Our Pen to Profit, Write, Publish, and Build with Dr. Tamara. We have a community. So join us over in the community, because some of what you hear here on this live, on this Zoom, also happens in the community. It is a community, it's support, it's accountability, it's training, it's learning, it's resources, and it's also connection, hence community. So those are some of the services that we offer. Thanks for
Thank
asking.
you. Thank you, because I know there's some people out there saying, I don't think I'm ready to write a book yet, but I want to do something with her. I'm going to be in her space. We know how proximity is, and when we're talking about excellence and elegance, then if either one of those is an area that you're lacking in, then you want to get in her space so that it will rub off on you. All right, we're going to go over to, is it Bea or Bea Preston? Miss Preston.
Hello, it's B.
Hello.
Preston.
Bea?
B.
B.
Just B.
Okay. Okay. B. Got it. Got it. All right. So B stands for bless, baby. No, no, but really, B stands for bless. And I have to, my grandfather's name was Preston, so I immediately had a connection there. We're talking about transformation. I'm also from Alabama. I'm actually in Alabama right now as we speak. So as I've said in some of these other books, I definitely have drawn pieces from each one of the speakers as to something I can connect with. So this is all personal to me. So you're talking about Alabama to Connecticut.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So let's pause. Exactly. Let's pause there and have a moment of peace and silence. Alabama to Connecticut. Just tell us a little bit about that experience as a young child going from Alabama to Connecticut. I went Alabama to Maryland. That was bad enough. So I was at least at the Mason-Dixon line. You went all the way up, all the way. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
I tell you, that experience was, it was such an eye-opening experience. I was 9 years old when we moved to Connecticut, and it wasn't officially said that we were coming to stay. My three older siblings were already in Connecticut, and my mother took the other three. There were six of us, the other three younger ones, and I was the youngest of the three, and said, "We're going to go and visit your brother and sisters in Connecticut." And I should have known something when everything we had was being sold or given away, or but anyway, we came, and after a couple of weeks, I'm like, "Mom, when are we going back home?" And she would say, "We're going to stay a little longer. We're going to stay a little longer." She never said we're here to stay, but she just said we were going to stay a little longer. So in that, I was used to a community where everybody knew everybody greeted everybody, everybody, looked the same, everybody talked the same. And I came to Connecticut and I heard someone speaking Spanish. I was like, what are they saying? And then when I heard the Jamaican dialect and the Italian dialect, we came to a community where it was really a melting pot of people. So you can imagine that was really scary for me. And then to enroll in school and find there were so few people that looked like me. And then in the classroom, that was a whole nother issue where it was just automatically thought, put her in the lowest group. But I found my voice and I began to speak out and show up and show out. And that journey, I talk a little bit about that in the chapter. And there's so many pieces that I touch on in that chapter. But it was basically as you reflect on your life, and I was looking at my life and seeing that if you divide it up into 25, 50, 75, 100, that I was already halfway through my third chapter of life. So with that, I felt the need to really share that experience. Because I am a business owner. I've owned Be Hair Salon. I just celebrated 37 years of entrepreneurship. And my kids surprised me with a book of my 30-year anniversary celebration. When I arrived home on Sunday, this little book here. is showcasing 30 years. And it brought me to tears because when I started to look through it, 6 people in that 7-year span is no longer here. And I felt the importance now that I really needed to start documenting my legacy on paper and then branching out from there, from coming behind the chair to in front of the chair to really share my life and also to let people know the power of God and the power of prayer and the divine calling on my life from a young age to this very moment. Even with meeting Dr. Tamara, all of that was divine because when I met her, it was through my daughter who heard her speak, and whatever she shared in that moment, my daughter came home and she was like, "You have to meet Dr. Tamara. You have to meet her." Because I've desired to write for a long time. I ended up in hair in cosmetology, but originally I wanted to be a journalist. And when I first opened my salon, we used to put out a newsletter. When I was in high school, I was editor of our newsletter. So it was there. It was there. So it just needed to come out. And Dr. Tamara is amazing. She has stretched me beyond belief. And everything, you know, we talk about embracing change and overcoming those fears of change. It would take this entire session to tell you everything, every hurdle that she's helped me cross and come through with flying colors. So the support is amazing, sisterhood is amazing, and just being able to share some of what I've learned over the years has been an exciting experience.
That's why I had to pop on. I'm always so to double back to Zena real quick. When Zena and I first started working together, I gave her a challenge to go live. This was about 2 years ago, I think, two or 3 years ago. She's been going live ever since. Like every day she goes live. Her community, podcast, Zena, right? When I met Miss B did not have a social media presence. She was not on social media at all. Nothing.
None of it.
Nothing. But she's been following everything that has been shared with her. She goes live. She go live on Facebook. She was in book pre-sale. She sold almost 40 copies of the book just during pre-sale. She's been like moving and shaking and following. So while you may say it was a blessing for meeting me, I say it's a blessing for meeting you, because even on days when I may question, like, what am I doing? You know, the connections and things like that, you has like reinvigorated me with understanding and knowing, well, if you share what you need to share and a person wants it, they'll grab it and they'll move with it. So I thank you for even being obedient enough to trust me enough to follow everything I suggest, recommend, and do everything. You're like on it. So I just wanted to pop on and share that and highlight you. And so I'm gonna pop back off. That was it.
Thank you for that. And I want to say, just in a follow-up to that, so B, if people are saying, I want to write a book, but I feel like I have to do it by myself, right? And I don't know where to start, or I may have an editor, or I may have a publisher, there may be a ghostwriter or something, but what would you tell them about the sense of community that you get out of working with Dr. Tamara on these projects?
Well, I'm just trying to find the words because a sisterhood is so important. And when I attended the Pen to Profit Summit in Jamaica, I was actually recuperating from surgery. I was just 4 weeks out from having had surgery, but I was so compelled to come. And also my daughter, who's now writing on an anthology as well. But when I arrived there, it was like, wow, this is the sisterhood I've been looking for over 30 years. It just seemed like it never materialized. You know, you meet some people and kind of hang out and do some things, and then it would kind of just dissipate. But there in that setting, the sisterhood and the things that we all shared and the examples that we were given and the speakers that spoke, everything was in it, and it was entitled, what was it, Reset? Um, it was 3 R's: release, reset, and oh my God, what was the third one? What was the third one, Queen Zena?
That's what I'm thinking. Release, reset.
Rejuvenate.
Well, anyway, in that space, each R and what it stood for, and then we had a barn fire where you just released whatever it was you needed to release, and I can tell you, it was just so healing. It was so freeing, and then I believe we all came away from there feeling like there's nothing that I can't do, and that just took all of us, I believe, to another level. And when you find that connection of sisterhood, it is just amazing. And then you get that confidence that you need to keep going, because you know that there's somebody that understands, and there's somebody that will really have your back through everything. No matter what you face, they will be there for you. And that's the kind of setting that Dr. Tamara introduced us to. And as I met the different women and we began to speak with one another, we find a connection of spirituality and just entrepreneurship, life experiences. And even with sharing, there were instances when I don't think there was a dry eye in the room, because everybody felt that sense of release. And it is important to find that circle that our Sister Latrice said in the beginning. It's so important to have that, because we do have trust issues and those disappointing times, but you will be lifted out of that when you know you're where you're supposed to be, because that support will be there for you. So
Thank
I
you.
can't say it enough. The experience has been life-changing for me,
Thank
for
you so
sure.
much. It comes across too. There's
Yeah,
definite
for sure.
passion behind that. And Queen Zena said that it was Reignite. So
Yes.
we can tell just in your story and in your journey. One more thing that I want to ask though, because you did talk a little bit about, working with Dr. Tamara, but your story was not one of the more recent ones, or even of the teen or 20-year-olds. You went all the
Yes.
way back. How was
Yes.
it working with her and having her, because I've heard the stories before, having her actually bring all of that out of you? Because that's a ways back. When I think about
Yeah.
my journey, and I was 7 when I went from Alabama to Maryland too, and there are many things that I decided to suppress because of how traumatic they were. So to be able to write a book, you have to, one, trust somebody to have those conversations with you. But what was it like to have her pull that out of you?
Well, the first part of it was saying that it's your story and nobody else can tell your story. And then as I sat down to begin writing, and I'm looking at my grandchildren, which the youngest one is 10 now. And so I have 3 grandchildren, and I'm looking at them and I'm realizing there's a lot about me that they don't know, even to the point of like that I could play basketball. One day I felt pretty good and I said to my grandson, let's go out and shoot a couple of hoops. And we got out there and I'm throwing them up and they're dropping in. And he goes, Mima, you know how to play basketball. And I said, oh, you don't know? I started the first girls basketball team in my high school. And so, but just something as simple as that, he didn't know. They see Mima now, who serves as a deacon at her church, who's a Sunday school teacher, who's, seemed like she's crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. But I felt that it was important to go back to the beginning and start there, because from there, there's so many pieces in that chapter that I want to build out from and transition from behind the chair as a hairstylist to becoming a life coach. And it's something I've already done for the last 37 years, but now really being intentional about what I'm sharing with, especially when I experienced a lot in my life in young years. I mean, I was 26 years old when I opened my business. And there was nobody really to sit and talk to mentor, to, really guide me. But that divine intervention, that's why the chapter is B stands for blessed, because it was divine intervention all the way through. Even I had been in business 19 years before I even sat down to write a business plan and even learned how to write a business plan. So all of that came through, it wasn't on my own. And that's what's so important that I share with women and with just individuals, young adults, letting them know, there are times in our lives when we have messed up and we've made some mistakes, but that didn't determine the outcome of where we would end up. And so that's why I started there. And Dr. Tamara helped bring that out. And as I was writing, I'm even emotional now. As I was writing, there was tears pouring, and it was still so fresh. But then I had to share that experience because everybody didn't have that type of experience. And I found that out as well as I was sharing bits and pieces with some clients of mine, that we ended up in tears and kind of saying, wow, that wasn't my experience. My experience is exactly opposite of that. But yet it opened up another avenue for women to release. And just sharing that part of my story, I've seen it already have effect, and I know it's going to only grow from there.
Absolutely. So definitely thank you for blessing us with your story, as well as your family members who were, the inspiration for that, wanting to leave that legacy of knowledge behind to them, and for talking to us about the divine guidance that you had, that you said there are many that did not have it or that get lost. They lose it, but to be reminded in your chapter that it's still there. And again, back to Queen Zena's, it doesn't matter when, it's not too late to reflect and to return back to that. So, and then Dr. Tamara, she said it 3 times. I'm hearing the title from behind the chair. Said it 3 times. There's a whole book from behind.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I will be back. I will be back.
So thank you, B, for sharing with us, and stay blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you again for sharing the bless with us.
Thank you.
All right. Now we're going to go and embrace some trust. We must embrace trust. So, Dr. Elisa Carter, come
Good
on
evening.
up. Yeah, let's talk about embracing trust, letting God lead the way. Now you know, because we don't, right? We step back in, we go to the altar and we leave all the trials and tribulations. We say, yes, I give them up. And I like to say this about myself. I go, as I'm going out the door, I go, oh, I forgot some stuff because I feel too light, right? So I go back and get a few things and put it back in my bag and take it back out the church. So let's talk about, I want to ask why that title. Now, it's already been mentioned a couple of times that spirituality is a strong part of all of her books, no matter what. Those are the people that are drawn to share naturally, even if she doesn't put that out as the calling, but it's natural. So why that title? Embracing trust, letting God lead the way.
Well, I got to tell you that Dr. Tamara helped me in pulling that out. She was really great at helping us to articulate what's already there, right? And embracing trust is definitely something I think that we all have a hard time doing. And the example you used is great. Like, we go to the altar, we lay it all there, and then when we get up, we take it all back with us. And then we wonder why we're still burdened, right? And so embracing trust just talks about the importance, of leaving it there, the importance of trusting God, the importance of trusting when you can't see what's next, right? And so that is a big part of the embracing trust, is
And so
letting go.
yes. So you spoke to Dr. Tamara and helping to articulate the title and go through the process. What was it like to work with her, though? Is this your first time working through anthology or through a book? And then what was your experience with her in particular? Because I already know the answers, but I just need the audience to keep hearing it.
Well, I got to tell you, it was an amazing experience. I don't know if you can see behind me, there's like this rectangle frame, and that's a dream board, right? My vision board. And years ago, I started that same board, and on there is a pen with a hand and a piece of paper, right? So I've had this dream of writing for a long time.
Mm.
And one day I ran across Dr. Tamara talking about an anthology, right? And writing your chapters, telling your story, right? And the same thing that Bee said, you know, she shared with me. It's your story. No one else can tell your story better than you can because you've lived it. And that really resonated with me, because sometimes we think we don't have a story, right? But we do. We all have a story inside of us. And sometimes it takes someone like Dr. Tamara to pull it out of you, right? Because we've all had life experiences. We've all been through something, whether good, bad, or indifferent. We've all been through something in life that we have learned from. And when we share that story with others, we can help them make it through whatever they're going through. And so she was awesome to work with, and I do look forward to working with her again. And she made the process a lot easier than I thought it would be. I guess that's why that little dream had been on that board so long, because I thought it was going to be a difficult task to take on, but she walks right alongside with you. She encourages, she leads, she does have very high standards, right? And I love all of that about her. I love every bit of it. So, and the sisterhood that came with this anthology, she has told us, you know, we're all in this thing together for the rest of our lives. We've come together to write a book. And so we are connected. And it was divine intervention. The Holy Spirit has been with us throughout the process. And it's been a growing process for me. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I would encourage anybody, if you got a dream to write, you want to get with her and write that story. Tell your story.
Yay. And with your chapter, we know that faith is a very big thing. So how has your faith really driven you towards the community development that you've done and the involvement and the leadership? How has that played into that? We're not going to give chapters information, but how has the faith played into your community leadership and development?
Well, I believe that my faith in God and believing, right, that even through the challenges that we're not alone has helped me to be able to help others, right? When you've gone through and you've experienced a valley experience or whatever that is, right? When you've experienced something and you've learned the tools, the techniques of what it takes to get through it, then it's easier, right? It's easier to help somebody else. It's easier for me to coach somebody through something that I myself have been through, right? Versus saying I've read the books or I've heard people talk about it. When you've gone through it, there is no better teacher than experience than anything in life.
Thank you so much for that. And I will be circling back to everybody. So just know that I'm going to come back to all the authors at hand and ask you to tell who specifically you are, because we didn't do those type of introductions. We wanted to get into the chapters, but in the end, who you are and then where they can find you, just to give you a heads up so you can be prepared. So thank you, Dr. Alyssa, for that. Woo! Now, see, you putting pressure on me to let go again. I tell you, y'all make me work every time I do this thing. Dr. Catherine.
Hello, hello.
Hey, let me get to your chapter. Woo! This is, I say this all the time, that with every one of these books, I seem to go through something emotionally on the inside in connection. I already know I'm an empath, but there's something that happens out of every one of these chapters that I can connect with. Let me get to you. Let me see here. Hold on. Two working. All right. The calling of the heart. After I just talked about how emotional I am already, and now we're going to go into the calling of the heart. Okay, so do you feel like your heart was called to do this chapter, or were you kind of drug into it? Let's start there. Why did you write the chapter? Why did you decide to be part of this anthology? And was there a specific calling of your own heart for this?
So I'm kind of an OG, I guess that's what we're gonna
Yes,
call me.
yes, yes.
So this is
Repeat
my
offender.
repeat offender, okay? 3 times straight
Yes.
offender. And so for me, it was a no-brainer, right? So I know everyone's saying it, and trust me, we're not getting paid to say this. This is all facts. Dr. Tamara is the truth. And so for me to work with someone to do 3 anthologies, to do 2 coaching programs, 12 months, I think 12-month coaching program for both. That's 5 times from a business perspective, but also just to go through the journey, right? And so for me to write the chapter, I felt like it was a no-brainer. I felt like it was a no-brainer. I felt like I was in a season to be able to share. And so the one thing that I credit Dr. Samira with is to be able to walk boldly in my story. And so I was on Blessed Not Broken Volume 1, and also Love, Business, and Marriage, the first one, because I know there's gonna be some more after that. It's too good not
Yes.
to have some follow-up. And then now, Trailblazer, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so every time I go to tell the story, I am reminded by Dr. Samira that someone needs to hear your story. Someone's going to be released, right, by your story, and you telling your truth. And so this particular chapter, writing this chapter was emotional. It was emotional. The other chapters, not that they weren't, right? There was more in the beginning, anxiety, like all the things you feel when you first start to tell your story. And then the second one, actually working with my husband, again, still those feelings, but this one was definitely emotional because it was personal. It was
Mm-hmm.
personal, and it was talking about the process of impact, the process that we all tend to want to skip, right? We want to get to the glory, but we don't want to go through the process. We don't want to go through the things so that we can have the faith and the tools to be able to utilize where uh, we ask God to bring us. And so the calling of the heart, and just having, Dr. Tamara there to be able to continue to just walk through the process. This one
Mm-hmm.
was very emotional for me.
So I'm going to go a little bit deeper with you than the others for that reason. You are a trice repeat offender. So
Yes.
how did the health challenges reshape your understanding of faith and purpose? Because
Oof.
yeah,
Um,
you've been here
so
with me. So
yeah,
see, yeah,
listen,
yeah.
I know, I know. I came ready. I came ready. I did. Um, so I think that we walk around like we are old time, right? Like we own it. And the health challenges definitely put in perspective that we don't own time,
Mm,
and that we are destined to fulfill a purpose. And once that purpose is fulfilled, right, then our time on this earth is over. But we don't know when that is. I'll say I don't. Some people may know I don't. Um, and so the surgeries, the health issues, all of those things, it was multiple things. It was to, first of all, put my faith, right? Because I don't know about y'all, but I like to control some stuff. And I just
mm,
was in positions where I literally had to release. I literally had to release. And I feel like God understands how to use us. He understands what to do, right? To make us get the lesson.
right.
But the other thing is he also will give us the lesson until we get it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very evident that he was giving me the lesson continuously until I got it. And for me, the lesson was, you walk around and you try to plan and you try to do these things and you try to be superwoman and you try to do all of those things, but your life is about impact and your life is about purpose. And so every time I feel like you're going on a different path, I'm going to redirect you. And how do I sit you down? This is how I sit you down. And
Mm-hmm.
so I truly do feel like, I know it's my journey, the health and all of the issues, but it is to understand the process, to walk through it, get the lesson, and instill that we don't own time. We have been given a set amount of time to do what God has called us to do, and we got to stop running and we got to do it. And He's going to make sure that we understand that that is what needs to be done.
I appreciate that because I know there are many women that are out there saying, no, but I am superwoman. No, but I do multitask. No, but I have so many things to do and accomplish. And then we're back at what were those original dreams? Do you remember what your dreams were? Do you remember who you are and whose you are? All of those
Right.
things, we're caught up in all the other titles and all the other positions, and I won't even get started with that. But sometimes, and we've already heard it before, we have to slow down, right? And when we don't do it ourselves, and the good thing
We are
is,
going to be done. Yes.
he loves you enough to keep trying to tell you.
Yes. Yes.
So
That is,
I want
that
to
is
thank
absolutely
you,
true.
yes, for coming back and for taking the hard hit, because on the question there. Thank you. And for someone out there right now that's saying, I don't know if I'm doing too much, I
Mm.
just need you to leave them with a nugget.
Take your rest. Because if you don't take it on your terms, you are
Mhm.
going to take it on His terms. And when God wants to get His point across, He does not do it in a way that it doesn't hurt. Because for some reason, we respond to pain. And
That's right.
so do it on the terms that you are comfortable with, because He will definitely make you uncomfortable so that you can do the things that He needs you to do. So take your rest on your terms, not His. Either way, you're
Thank
going to
you.
do it. So do it on your
Yes,
terms.
yes, yes, yes. You know, we're women, we like to be in control, and that's your best way to be in control, is to
Mm-hmm.
do that.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you. I'm going to circle back and just say that there are other authors that are participating in this book. They're not here today. Grab the book. There are more chapters you have not heard. This is the first time we didn't go even as deep into each one of the chapters, because people feel like, oh, I can just, come on here and listen to this and I got it like I watched a movie. No, that's not what we're doing. You heard the titles that have been brought before you today. These are women. If you are an entrepreneur out there or an aspiring one, and you're saying, I don't know what kind of things are ahead of me, get the book. They're in there. If you're saying right now that I'm at this point in my life where I may be working a full-time job and desire to have my own business, it's a side hustle right now, but I desire to have my own business and I need some direction, get the book. If you're saying I need somebody to be side by side with me as I go through this process, I may be going through a divorce now. I may be in a position where things are changing with my career. I may be in a position where I know I need to tell my story because otherwise there are so many things that will stay untold. Then you need to get the book and you need to get in the community. You need to get to, we talked about rest. The final thing is rest. If you need to rest, but you want to play, but you want to get it written off, but you want to learn something, then you need to be at the Pen to Profit conference and hang out in Jamaica next spring. Plan for it now. Set the money aside. If you need help coming up with an offer so you can get the money so that you can be in the place and the space to be surrounded by these women, just to hug them, to buy their books, to talk to them, to get the insight, to cry, whisper on the side, then you need to get in Dr. Tamara's DMs so that you can find a way to make the money to be in the space. There's no excuses today. We are in 2024. This woman has 13 best-selling books. These women come back and tell different parts of their journey, different parts of their story. They are emptying out into the world. This is about impact. So if you feel in any way moved by the stories that you heard today, the guidance and advice that you received, or by the presence, the elegant and excellent presence of Dr. Tamara Mitchell Davis, you need to be dropping a comment. You need to share this out. If you have a community and group that needs to be moved right now, if your engagement is down, I need you to throw this over in there and engage with it yourself. Tell what you got out of it. Tell whose story impacted you already. This is a movement. And every time she comes through here, I'm shaken up. And I swear, I sit there, I feel like I'm on the pulpit right now, but that's what it is. This woman moves mountains. She goes through molehills to get people back to level set. When they come with these stories, the stories are inside them. She says, it's yours. Nobody can tell it like you. Would you want somebody else telling your story? You go to the doctor and somebody else says what's wrong with you, you know they don't tell it, right? Especially if it was a male. Tell your own story. And if you need all the steps to get there, just get in her DM. That's all I'm asking. Share this word, share it out there. Buy the book right now. Digital copy, $2.99. I upped it at $1.99 and got the audio component to it. Did some offer that Amazon gave me. I'm gonna get it all. Every single time that it comes out. If you have a book list that you send out in your newsletters, we ask that you add this book to the list. Pick a chapter, pick a title that your audience will relate to and share this. That's all. It doesn't cost anything to share. All right, I, the operator, yield the floor back to the wonderful, visionary, 13-time bestseller. We're going to go ahead and claim it today. 14-time best-selling author, impact around the world, over, I know, easy, 1,000 people actually touched. And we're not talking about the people that got the books. We're talking about the day-to-day people. We're talking about the people that go on to social media and see the nuggets that she's dropping on Facebook and on LinkedIn. It doesn't matter which side you're on. And I need you to tap a reaction, give her a comment, because it needs to be spread. Because if we don't spread it, who's going to do it? Dr. Tamara, you have the floor back.
I was sitting here, I was just listening. All right, carry on. So I want to touch on what you said, Stacy, as far as the stories that were shared. And so if and when, this lands in your news feed and you have a community or you have an event or you have other things going on and you've read the stories and there's a story here that connects with you and connects with your audience, then definitely consider the women here who shared their story. It was a labor of love. invite them into your community, invite them in for a book chat, a book talk, a book club. From how we used to do back in the day, I'm sure your audience would love to have the person who wrote the story come and share their information, their inspiration, their knowledge and wisdom with you, right? That would just be a great thing for them. Like, they're all open for business too. So bring them in, let them share with your community. You have an event coming up and you need a speaker, invite them in, connect, grow. This is how we build. So I just wanted to put that out because you mentioned it, and I was like, we talk about book chats and book talks all the time. So with a story, that's what it can help reignite the fire, get people on board, tapped in, motivate, inspire, connect, and even transform. And for some, even healing. When you read someone's
Yes.
story and you see the path that they were on, it can definitely be healing for you because you feel less alone. I'm not alone. Zena made it. B made it. Dr. Catherine made it. Dr. Alyssa made it, right? Tamara did this. Like, you get inspired because you feel like if she can do it, so can I. And so that's the inspiration and motivation that comes from the stories that we share. And for me, I have the pleasure of not only supporting and watching the process, but I get the pleasure of watching the transformation that happens with them and then fills like the overflow into other community spaces and places. And so it's the transformation for me. So that's
Yes,
what I
yes,
wanted to
yes.
share. And I have something I want to I had pulled this up too when you were talking, Stacey, on a Trailblazer. And so the reason why like when I put out the call initially for the co-authors on this project, I just said Trailblazer, Trailblazer, Trailblazer. And as I was hearing their stories more and more, and we got to the final stage after the editing phase. So shout out to our editor, Neva, to the editing phase. Trailblazers are leaders who push boundaries, who challenge the status quo, and inspire others to follow in their footsteps. And so all of the women that have gone on and spoke to their story, their individual story, their lived experience, all of them in some way, shape, or form have shared how their story can be impactful to follow in their footsteps. So they don't went ahead and they cleared the path. They moved all the other, the woods, the trees, the brush. They cleared the path. And so now it's up to you to follow. Success leaves clues. Follow the path that was laid out before you. And so this is what a trailblazer means to me. Someone who is willing to take a step into uncharted territory and take risks. They didn't know the outcome, but yet they were willing to trust God, trust the process, trust the journey, and just keep moving through. So they've paved the way, and it's up for those who are listening and resonate with their story to follow in their footsteps. So that's what came up for me.
Woo, woo. See, she out here spitting live, right? Freestyling, as they say, right? So come on, y'all. I want to go back through everybody. And since we talked about the chapters, now let's get a little bit personal. And for each one of you, I want you to, give your typical spiel about who you are and what you do, and then where can they find you, as we're talking about being able to follow you at this point to carry on, because these stories have reached different women. There are women that also know somebody else that they say, yeah, that sounds like my girl so and so, or yeah, I've been watching Miss so and so for 30 years over at blank place, and she probably thinks that she's at a standstill, that she's stuck and she can't. I got a group of girls for her. I got a group of women that I can connect her to so that her dreams can live on, and or some of them be reignited, right? So Queen Zena, if you'll come off and tell everybody who you are and how they can find you.
I am Zena Thrower, affectionately known as Queen Zena Thrower, over and I Am Purpose in Motion on Facebook. That's the community that I am CEO and founder of. You can also find me at Purpose in Motion's podcast, wherever you listen, stream from. I am a mother, a wife, a mother of three, a grandmother of eight, a great grandmother of three, and it keeps growing. And number one thing is I love God. Nothing happens in my life without him. every decision that I have made, he gave me the okay for. If he didn't, it's a no. But you can always find out where I'm going, what I'm doing, if you just tap in. So I am Purpose in Motion on Facebook. You will be able to follow me to all my journeys to where I'm going. And the one thing that I do remember that Dr. Tamira always taught me, the book does start your business. So I am an entrepreneur from the book. I'm a podcaster, an international podcaster from the book, and an international speaker from the book.
Amen. Amen. Woo! It's not too late.
And
Midlife.
before you move on, Stacy,
Mhm.
Zena, what do you do? Who do you work with?
I am a midlife financial coach here to help you renovate your personal finances to live the dream life that you're looking for.
Thank you so much, midlife financial coach, Queen Zena Thrower. I love that. All right, let's go. B, Preston. Tell us again. Some people heard bits and pieces, but who are you? What do you do? And where can we find you?
I am Bee Preston. I am a mother, a grandmother. I am a widow. I serve as a deacon in my church. I am an assistant new member Sunday school teacher. I am a justice of the peace. I am owner of Bee Hair Salon, found in the Yalesville section of Connecticut for the past 37 years. And you can find me on Facebook.
Yay! What's your name on Facebook?
And
Your
it is under B Preston.
okay,
Yeah,
okay. And aren't you proud to say that name?
I am.
Yeah, you could have been left out with just a brick and mortar, and we'd be like, we can't get to Connecticut. How else we get to
Right?
you? So thank you so much. Look, for being obedient, right? For being
Yes,
obedient.
yes.
And therefore now you will have impacted more people because people will reach out and touch you in a way they couldn't have in the brick and mortar. So thank you, Dr.
So
Tam,
true.
for that, putting that in place for her. So thank you. Dr. Alyssa, come on off. Tell people who you are, who do you serve, and where can we find you?
All right, I am Dr. Alisa Carter, and I can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and I have a website. They are all Dr. Alisa Carter, and then the website is dralisacarter.com. So keep it simple there, straight across the board. I am a certified life coach. I am a pastor's wife. And one of the things I like to feel like I'm a business owner, I am an entrepreneur, I'm a serial entrepreneur. But one of the things I like to do with people is bring the Bible to life, right? My favorite scripture is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Mhm.
Right. So when we say that, we got to believe that in every area of our lives. You know, we say the scripture, greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world. Well, if he's in you, then there's no limits to what you can do. Right. And so I try to bring that out. And lastly, I'll say that one of the things that Jesus said often in the Bible is only believe. If you can believe, you can do it. If you can believe it, then you can achieve it. But it all starts with you believing. And that's what I had to do, even writing my story. Dr. Tamira, we had that conversation, right? And so I just want to encourage everyone tonight to get the book, read the book, and take it further. Do some book studies, reach out to us authors. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to join you in your book studies virtually, if we're not local. But yeah, but get the book.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, Dr. Alyssa. We're gonna go to Latrice Jennings. Come back on. Tell us who you are, who you serve, and where can they find you?
Hello again. I am Latrice Jennings. I am a I'm an underwriter. My 9 to 5. I'm an underwriter by day, but I'm a jewelry owner, a jewelry store owner by night. I believe in the power of feeling good. When you look good, you feel good. There are therapeutic, what's the word I'm looking for? Properties. There are therapeutic properties to feeling good, and when you looking good and feeling good. I can be found on Instagram and Facebook at Get Trey Chic. That is my website, that is my Instagram, and that also is my Facebook. And at the end of the day, after I'm done with all that, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a soccer mom because I'm at soccer right now. I'm always I'm always doing something, and I'm here to break generational curses for my babies, for my two young Black boys that have it so hard. I want them to know that their mother is their number one fan, and I will do anything to build their legacy where they did not have to go through some of the struggles that I had to go through.
Thank you for being a
Oh,
trailblazer.
and definitely get the book, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely get the book. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'm going to swing it over. Dr. Catherine, if you can come on, 3-time repeat offender, and just I mean, elevating every time in between, right? With all the things that are going on for you, the more that you give out through these chapters, the more that you are receiving back. So if you'll go ahead and tell us again who you are, who do you serve, and where can we find you?
Thank you. So I am Dr. Catherine Latoya Grant Austin, the Queen Treasurer. I am the CEO and co-founder of Art Financial Solutions. We help business owners elevate from 6 to 7 figures using our framework so that they can reclaim their time, replace it with money, break generational curses, and leave a legacy. I can be found on Facebook and Instagram as Catherine Latoya Grant Austin. And then we also have a Facebook community, Kingdom Treasures for Love, Finance, and Family, where you can join us and we talk everything from love, finance, and family.
Perfect. So thank you so much. Bringing it back to our very own visionary who we love and adore. Just want to find out what's going on with you next. And for the people out there that are just finding out about you because they've been shared through one of the young lady here's, social media, or they just came across this live and they're like, ooh, look at all those beautiful women. What's going on? Tell everybody who you are and who you serve, where they can find you outside of just on Facebook, and what's coming up next. Dun, dun, dun.
So yes, Dr. Tamara here, all things writing, publishing, business building. That's my little spiel. And we help aspiring authors, coaches, and leaders write authentically. So write their stories, get them published, market their stories so that they can build and make impact with their stories. So what's coming up next, of course, is another book collaboration. So we have a book collaboration in the works. We are selecting co-authors to join the next one. We have some spots available. So if you're listening in and wondering how do you get started, interested in joining us, then let's have a conversation. So that's one thing that's coming up. Something else that's big that's coming up, and this is my first time sharing it here on this live. Something big is coming up. We are opening up and launching our next program. And so this will be in support of those who have stories and just not sure how to build with them, how to build out streams of income, how to leverage it to get in front of audiences, to elevate their brand and their business overall, or even just at large. And so that is something that is coming out. And then our Pen to Profit annual event. This will be in April 2025, and we are heading back to Jamaica for some fun in the sun and paradise, everything Irie, and other things coming, but that's just like a few that's like right here within the next few months. And so storytelling is my jam. As I said, it's always a transformation for me, because when I start working with individuals in the beginning, that is not the same way they leave me. And as you can see, some don't leave, they stay. And so I am happy for that as well, because it has morphed into a sisterhood, support. If you are on Facebook or wherever you're watching this live and you can see the comments, you see that it is support, it is community. And so I want to shout out Dr. LaShonda, Dr. Tangi, we have Nadine, like we have a ton of women from previous projects who are always in support of the authors that debut, right? And share their story for the very first time or even a third time, because it's still an original and a first time of them sharing this part and this piece of their story. So I'm just, blessed, as B said. I'm gonna have to, T stands for blessed. B, where you at?
Hey,
Instead of B, T,
yes, it does.
T stands for blessed, B and T. But I'm
Yes,
just
it does. Yes, it does.
I'm happy and excited to be here and to be on this journey with everyone and to just watch them all share and talk. Like, finally, we here. It has been a labor of love. We've been working behind the scenes, going through editing and marketing and doing everything behind the scenes. So to be at this place here is like, whew, we here, we made it. It's out there and it is life-changing and will be life-changing. And so we outside, as the saying goes, we outside. We are outside. So I wish everyone here who's tuning in and the co-authors here, you all know that I wish you nothing but the best as you continue to move with your story. Own it, live it, allow it to move for you, transform you, and also transform those who are along the path, because you set the pace now. Just continue walking, continue trusting, continue moving, and you'll see opportunities and the lights, like the dots, they will all continue to connect. So, and Stacy, thank you so much. Like every time I call you, you don't say, let me think about it. You don't say, let me check my calendar. You just say, okay, send me the date,
Right.
send me the time. So I appreciate you as well for being here. Like, you always go through the stories and you're able to bring the questions and really dig in a little bit to everyone who is on the project, like their story, and allow them to share that piece of them. So I thank you for what you do in your area, your zone of genius, your area of expertise, because you are the operator and the moderator. So thank you.
For you only. For you only. So I just like to say it's something that it's the spirituality in it. It is the sisterhood in it, because for the brief moment as an only child, I get to be surrounded by the spirit. I get to be surrounded by stories that some of them, touch me in some kind of way. I know that it's done in elegance, in excellence, for sure. And I know how many people are going to be impacted on the other side of it. So if I can have a small part of delivering and distribution out there into the community, then I'm going to jump at it every single time. I see the little thing moving and know it's coming from her. I'm like, yes, what's the date and what's the book? Let's roll, So yes, I appreciate being a part of it. Absolutely. The works are brilliant and the impact is vast, and we must continue to share this out. If we don't do it, if we don't tell the stories, they'll die within us. And there are too many, especially women, that can be impacted if we do tell our stories in a positive way, to see a light, to see an answer, a solution, a tactic, a strategy, or just God. So
Yeah.
I am here at your service, Dr. T.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And in the book itself, like there's a total of 10 women on this project. Some are featured here, and I just wanted to take the time to recognize the others who aren't here. We have Elizabeth Merriweather, we have Tamar Drawn, Dr. Shaka Felder, we have Dr. Shayna Davis, and we have Tia Barnes. So those are the other women who's on this project as well. They're not here physically due to other commitments, but they are a part of the project. So you'll be able to read all of the stories. And be sure, as you read the stories, go follow them, connect with them, and also be sure to share a review on Amazon. Let them know how their story have impacted you as you've read it, and share it with someone else. So thank you.
All right. So we're going to close it out. So if you're out there in the audience, she's already told you, we know to go get the book. If you haven't gotten the book yet, we don't know what you're waiting for. If you don't want to buy the book, have somebody else get it. Send it to somebody else. Send the Amazon link to somebody else. Again, if you have a group make sure that you're sharing this out into the group to get the best impact. If you want to increase your engagement, this is one way to do it for sure. If you have a newsletter, make sure that you're sharing it out in the newsletter. And if you're part of a book club, make sure that you recommend the book, and also let them know that if you take this book on for your book club, I actually know where I can find the authors to have someone or a few of them come in to speak. Adding value and experiences are the biggest things going on in 2024 for women. We want more value for the price that we're paying, and we want the experience because we don't know when we may have another one. So make sure that you use this book to leverage in your own business, in your own personal life, to do just that. Add value and give them an experience of a lifetime that they would not have gotten if they didn't take part with this book and these authors. So back to you to close this out, Dr. T.
All right, I'm just closing out with celebrate. I was over here talking to Alexa.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to follow the ladies and let's keep the train going. Thank you again, Stacey. I appreciate you.
Let's celebrate the last of the year.